So the 2008 crash wasn't actually an accident at all. It was a carefully designed hit to make the elites even richer. And they actually do this pretty often. In fact, they do it so consistently and so predictively that experts have even been able to develop a way to predict the next financial collapse or crisis. And based on that pattern, we're about to be very screwed. This cycle or pattern is called the fourth turn, and it was developed by the historians William Strauss and Neil Howe that shows how every 100 years the world goes through 4 seasons. And it has done this for the past 500 years. The pattern has 4 seasons. Spring, which is optimism, trust in the institutions, strong institutions, and this is kind of like that post-World War II boom. Then there's summer or the awakening where new ideas rise, people start challenging the status quos, but culture keeps growing in a positive direction. Then there's the autumn season where trust in the institutions completely collapse. Individualism and individual ideas are at the highest that they have ever been. Think of the revelry of the 1980s to the 2000s. And then there's a winter, where everything climaxes and culminates into a winter, which it ends up being a massive financial crisis. Think of what was the Great Depression. Now, there's something to note about the winter era. It starts off somewhat mild, like the crash in 2008, but after 20 to 25 years, it peaks into a massive crisis that forces just this big reset of the economy or systems to then go into a springboard. Now, according to this particular model, our current winter began with that 2008 crisis, and historically, we're already past due for this climax. So what if I told you that this wasn't just a coincidence? And what if I told you that every time they play this game, there's always the same losers and there's always the same winners? The rich banking families always win, and the middle to lower class people always lose. However, while this is true for the first time in history, there is something that exists that the bankers, that the elites have no control over. Something that exists completely outside of the Federal Reserve, outside of the banking system, which are the very tools that they have used for hundreds of years to keep the poor, and it is called the blockchain. It is a completely transparent, borderless, and uncensorable encrypted financial system. It is created by the people, not by government or institutions, and it's backed by a network of people and not institutions. This is cryptocurrency, and currently this and gold are the only 2 things that you can really bet on to keep you afloat for the peak of this crisis. It is the only way that we can fight back, and instead of giving them money or spending our money, the same money we deposit into banks, we can keep our money and in some cases even grow it. And nowadays with apps like FOMO, which is what I use, it's even easier than ever to actually do this because of how transparent it is. You can just look at what the top traders in the platform, the whales that make thousands of dollars a day, and you can just copy their exact trades and get the same percentage returns that they do without really having to know anything about crypto. So if you're interested, I will link it in my bio, and you can use code Mr. Turrentine on sign up to get 10% off of fees for an entire lifetime.